Yes, lads, what is going on? Welcome to episode 6 of the MLS SORARE Road to Glory. Hope you're all having a good day. I hope you had a good weekend. Let me know how you got on this past weekend on SORARE. Leave your SORARE gallery name. I'll be giving away a couple of cards, as usual, in the comment section, just for you guys liking, engaging with the video. It does honestly mean the absolute world to me. As usual, we'll be recapping what happened last weekend. Although it was an international break, we still had the MLS. The MLS stops for nobody. And then, yeah, we'll look forward to this upcoming weekend, build some lineups. I'll go through some of the best scorers from last weekend, kind of see and maybe forecast who I think will do well this weekend. Might condense it maybe into like a top 10 of some sort. And yeah, hopefully that information maybe will help you along the way. If you're new to SORARE, maybe even MLS itself. And yeah, help you understand the league a little bit more if you're new. But if you're not, if you're a veteran, then you'll know your stuff. But yeah, if you are completely new to SORARE, there's a link in the description that will get you some market credits once you purchase your first 5 cards from the auctions or instant buy. And yeah, helps me out as well if you do go and do that. No pressure if not. And yeah, let's get into then last weekend. So we have 2 teams. One team is a community team. Anything this lineup wins every week, which is basically an Atlanta United stack. All the money effectively will be basically buying tons of cards as much as we end up winning, and I'll be giving them back to you guys. This is a lineup that I was gifted because I mentioned it in the last episode, but I ran a half marathon a few weeks ago in Atlanta, and one of my members kindly donated the lineup to me as a a nice little gesture. And yeah, I don't feel comfortable winning anything from it and gaining from it, if that makes sense. So yeah, anything it wins will be given away to you guys. But this specific weekend, I had to buy a Pablo. I didn't have to buy Ruiz specifically, but I brought in a player that wasn't an Atlanta United card because the other 2 cards I do have from Atlanta were both away with the international duty. But yeah, 227 points. Unfortunately, Cincinnati away wasn't the best of matchups. I kind of knew, going into this weekend, it'd be an uphill battle. And Ruiz was stinking. He got hooked at half time, so not a great result for the community lineup. And then for the lineup that I built, it actually did slightly better, but not too much better. Sorry, 242 points. Not a decisive in sight. I ended up going with Joaquin Pereira over David da Costa, and they both actually scored like identical all-around score, just under 20. So yeah, it was one of them. On another day, 2 shots on target, 1 big chance created, and 4 attempted assists. That normally results in an assist, of some sort, a decisive or even a goal. So it wasn't to be. I got my captaincy wrong. I thought Navarro would have at least, maybe scored a goal or so against Portland, but fair play. Portland were very, very good. I watched the game. David da Costa, like I said, very similar all-around score to Joaquin Pereira. Portland absolutely smashed, some big scores in there. GG's to the Portland stackers. And then yeah, Bassett again, just really poor. I think we need to really upgrade on him, to be honest. He's just not cutting it for me right now. John Bell did start. He was the player we brought in for £1. 18 AA, obviously not ideal considering there was a clean sheet in there, So 8 AA after the clean sheet added is not ideal, 2 interceptions, 4 duels won, 4 duels lost, so no double. Lost the ball 18 times is the killer. There's so much, it's like 14 points lost there on all-around score for possession loss. So yeah, he underscored. Yeah, he definitely underscored for me. I thought he would have done a little bit better than that. But fair play to Sean John, only conceding 2 against the Red Bulls. He made some wicked saves, I'll give him that. As you can see here, 4 saves, 1 inside the box, a punch, a diving save, a sweeper keeper. He actually played quite well for once, which is encouraging because he's at home this weekend. And yeah, I'm honestly quite excited for what we've got going on this weekend. As far as matchups go. Yeah, I think we've got all home fixtures to choose from, which is a blessing, especially in the MLS. Which here, okay, Joaquin Pereira was at home, Navarro and Bassett was. I mean, they all were, to be fair, apart from Sean John. But this week, I think we've got 5 out of 5. And the whole Atlanta United stacks all at home against a really not great team in New York. Anyway, that's enough looking back from a personal perspective. Let's have a look at the top sort of 10 to 15 scorers from last weekend and kind of maybe dissect, can they replicate it this weekend type of thing? Was it a one-off? And just highlight some consistent performance maybe that we've seen so far this season. So Pep Biel was one of only 2 scorers that scored 100 points this weekend. Messi didn't play. Inter Miami didn't play. Andrade Yeimar with the last man tackle 100. Not to say that's unexpected, to be fair for him. Not the last man tackle, but just the amount of all-around score at home. I kind of expected him to do really well. Evander absolutely smashed. For me, he's the best player in the league outside of Messi, on paper. yeah, he's the best midfielder for me by a mile. I think he's absolutely unbelievable. And yeah, this is his first like smashing score for Cincinnati, and I think we'll see a lot more of him. Like, he's just ridiculous. Like, I think he's just too good for the league. I mean, he showed it last year at Portland. He was ridiculous. But yeah, Pep Biel started really well for Charlotte. Like, really impressive start. L5 of 66, 3 assists in 2 games, 4 assists in the last 5, 2 goals as well. Really impressive. Really impressive. Sorry, it's just maybe if he doesn't get a decisive, I don't think his all-around score is like incredible. But if he does get a couple of decisives, you can cook with him for sure. Pedro Vite, pretty sure that was on international duty. Yeah, so that doesn't count technically, although he plays in the league. Martin O'Heider's been unbelievable this season. He's one of the real, although it says midfielder, I think he's got forward cards right now. So yeah, ignore that for now. He had midfielder cards the season before that. Pasalic as well. Like, Orlando have got a really strong like front four right now. O'Heider's on fire, Pasalic is on fire, Angulo got his first decisive, Muriel with another decisive. Offensively, Orlando are looking really sharp. Forsberg got 2 goals. He was back on penalties. Yeboah got 2 goals. I really rate Yeboah. I think he's class. I think he's a really, really good option. I'm not saying he's cheap or anything, like undervalued, but I think he's a very, very good forward. Like, can get good all around score as well. At home to Salt Lake this weekend looks a tasty fixture for him. Pavel Buka's been scoring pretty well for Cincinnati, from midfield. Walker Zimmerman's back up there, of course. Sherburko with the all-around score. Like, he's probably one of the best, if not the best defender right now, I would say. Just on pure all-around score. Like, he's just so consistent. I know that was his best game so far. But he was doing that all last season as well. Very, 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 very good scorer. Berhalter's looking pretty good right now. 45 AA for a midfielder. I think he's taking all the set pieces for Vancouver right now. With Ryan Gould out, he's looking a really nice option. And yeah, there was a couple of, the actual scoring split as far as positions go here is quite even. Not many forwards, only Pasalic and Yeboah on that page there. Anthony creeps in, but that makes sense. Like, midfielders and defenders should normally dominate, the higher scoring positions, just because they're just more capable of getting all around score, right? Defenders get, clean sheets added and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty standard, I think. Zink had a really good game. That was his first, really good game for Chicago in a 3-1 win away to Vancouver. Jackson Reagan got some nice all-around score. Unfortunately, none of our boys were anywhere near this list. But yeah, there was some, interesting scores this weekend. Chambeau coming in with 41 AA. I really rate him. I just want, what's his in-season cards? 30, or just under 14 quid. Classic's pretty cheap, but yeah, unfortunately, none of our boys were flying high on this list. Lucho Acosta scored his first decently high score for Dallas. I think he missed a penalty, won a penalty, scored a header, even though he's like 3'5". So yeah, it was an eventful, sort of standard weekend in MLS, even though a couple of the bigger players weren't playing because they were away with their international team, like Pedro Vite, Dennis Bouanga, for example. And I was going to have a little look forward to the matchups for this upcoming weekend, just to have a little look at, who are these standout, or, where can we predict some of these high scores to come from? And it kicks off with Inter Miami, who had they didn't have a game this weekend, so they'll be fresh. Hopefully Messi will be fresh. He didn't go away with Argentina. They're at home to Philly, which, they've had a weird season so far. Like, they've won a couple of games where you probably didn't expect them to, as comfortable as they did. Like the Cincinnati game, for example. They beat Orlando first game. They beat New England. They've only lost 1 game, in fairness. So I don't think it'll be a walk in the park for Inter Miami. But if Messi's fit, you've got to fancy him to score pretty well there, because Philly, although they've won a lot of games, they do concede goals. Chicago at home to Montreal could be the sneaky one. Definitely from an offensive side of things, like with Cypers, Zink, and Bamba. I think any 2 of those 3 could end up, or even all 3 of them could score well. You just can't play them all together unless you use Zink's midfielder card. Dallas at home to Sporting Kansas City is pretty fun. Atlanta at home to New York. We're hoping that the community lineup can do the business there. Portland Timbers at home to Houston, I think, is really good for David DaCosta. I'm quite excited about that. St. Louis at home to Austin seems fine. Orlando are away this weekend to the Galaxy, but I'm still not fearing. Like, I don't think any team fears LA Galaxy right now. So Orlando will go there with a lot of confidence, I'd imagine. San Diego LAFC will be a good game, I think. DC at home to Columbus. So a couple of the good teams like LAFC, sort of Columbus Crew, all historically good teams. Cincinnati, a lot of those are away this weekend. Although there's always going to be a few good teams at home. just with how many teams there is in the league. But yeah, I'm predicting a few big scores from probably obviously the Inter Miami guys, probably the offensive side of Chicago. Minnesota, like your Boas, hopefully Joaquin Perez, for example, will do pretty well in that Salt Lake game at home. Dallas, I mean, you're just looking at like your Musas, maybe Lucho Acostas again. Atlanta, if all the lads come back, like Almiron and stuff from international duty, not injured or anything, then I think this could be pretty good. New York City aren't great, especially away from home. I think that could look pretty good. I think this Timbers fixture could be the one. And they just went and battered Colorado 3-0 away. You've got to think, against a Houston side, okay, Jack McGlynn will be back. You've got to think they'll end up battering Houston, wouldn't you? Like I said, I was very shocked that Houston ended up getting a draw against Seattle, to be honest, even though Seattle are depleted right now, as are Houston. Like, they're on their third keeper, which is a bit mad, with Jimmy Mauer getting injured. It looks like Ethan Barlow got injured as well. Escobar scored incredibly well with the yellow card. But yeah, they just don't have enough firepower for me there. I just don't see them really threatening, threatening Portland, to be honest, at all. I really don't. Outside of that, maybe Peck does pretty well at home to Orlando, but I'm not too confident in Peck and the Galaxy as a whole really right now, honestly. Hopefully Colorado do the business against Charlotte, but again, Charlotte are a wicked team. Right, let's have a look at what the pick scores are saying then over on SORARE data as far as the MLS players go this weekend, because yeah, I'm projecting a few big scores. Let's see what SORARE data and the AI, well, I don't know whether it's AI, but what the bot thinks over there as far as best. Let's go positionally first. Let's just do forwards. And of course, we've got an Inter Miami player at top, Luis Suarez. Surprised to see Messi not up there. I know Messi's maybe, his previous scores aren't looking too great. Yeah, he's an A right now. Maybe because of the potential injury, but it looks like he's been training, so I wouldn't look into that too much. I think he should probably be fine. Bamba's up there, which I expect. Latte Lath being up there, like, I can see him scoring goals, but I don't expect him to get like a ton of all-around score. Peck's up there, we mentioned him. Cypers, obviously, with the Chicago lads. Yoboa, a lot of the lads I kind of projected to be up there kind of are, based on the fixtures. Musa the same. Benteke at home to Columbus, yeah, you could probably fancy him to do pretty well there. Bernadeschi could be a little outside shout. I still like Martin Ojeda, despite being away. Oriano away to Nashville, it's not ideal. You're up against it a little bit. Let's have a look at midfielders. I'm guessing, yeah, Big Yepe's been ridiculous for San Diego. His all-around score is incredible. Like, he hasn't really got many decisive so far. I don't think any, actually. But, his all-around score is very impressive. Yeah, no decisives, but, like, somebody capable of, like, 52 AA all-around score is impressive. Evander's up there. I can see why Hartel's up there. I think Rusnak being up there's a little bit, yeah, falsely advertised maybe, away to San Jose. I don't think San Jose are that good, but I'm not too confident in Seattle right now with the amount of injuries they've got. They just don't seem to be clicking. Evander's up there, which I can get. Mihailovic, yeah, fair enough. Hani, yeah, okay. Moranchuk, he just hasn't really done it yet, has he, Moranchuk? Of course, we ended up cursing him with buying him early on in the season. He's got a decent all-around floor, 10-ish AA. It's not bad. It's not great, though, if I'm being honest. And, yeah, I think him being up there, I get it, because the fixture is good. Tagzeth looks like in a nice position. You've got to fancy Lucho to do pretty well at home to Sporting Kansas City. I think this is one where, what's his in-season card going for? It's still 26 quid, yeah. We can't afford that. That's too much. I was going to say, if he was like 10 quid or something, I might have taken the risk on him. Maxi Marias is away. I like Busquets this weekend. Espinoza at home to Seattle. You've got to fancy him to do pretty well there. Bernadeschi as well gets a mention. Does Carlos Heel come out of his dusty cave and come out and get a decisive for once? Because, yeah, he's like, this is a decent all-around floor compared to Moranchuk, who was at like 10. His, Gil's floor right now is like 15, up to 30, which is nice. Without a decisive, you add a decisive in there, those scores look a lot better. But will the decisives come? Because New England are just rubbish, to be honest. As far as defenders go, you've got Jordi Alba, which you've got to expect to do pretty well. Kai Wagner's playing against Jordi Alba, so it'll be interesting to see if Kai Wagner's a joke. Like, he's such a good player. Takes set pieces and stuff for Philadelphia from defense, but he is against probably the best team in the league. So let's see if he'll be effective there. I think Zimmerman's one of the better options this weekend at home to Cincinnati. Since they are a good team, Evander and stuff will have to, be kept quiet, but Zimmerman's probably in line for a big score there. Jack Elliott might score pretty well. I'm just looking at a couple of the home fixtures maybe that are pretty interesting, but there's honestly not that many. A lot of the defenders who are high on the pick scores are honestly away from home, aren't they? So, yeah, it could be, I don't know, it could be a low-scoring defender week this weekend would be probably my prediction on the whole, because the last couple of weeks, defenders have been running riot as far as scores go on, in MLS. CJ Santos is up the top as the only AAA fixture at home to LA, which I think's, I don't know, I can't imagine LA don't score away to San Diego, especially if Boanga's back. I'd imagine they score, but that doesn't mean to say CJ Santos can't get all-around score. It just means obviously he wouldn't get the clean sheet. Brad Stuver away to St. Louis. Kalina, a lot of the good goalies, Stuver, Kalina, are all away this weekend. So either they score incredibly well, I think, or they just concede a couple as you probably expect, being away and they don't. But yeah, if one of these of a Stuver or a Kalina, or even a Freeze potentially gets a clean sheet, that's not the cheat code, but that's kind of the recipe right now for a big goalkeeper score in the MLS is them playing away and obviously getting the clean sheet on top of a good amount of all-around score, because they're the away team, right? They're under the cosh for the majority of the game most of the time, and the keepers just make more saves, and if that results in a clean sheet, normally you're looking into this, the high 70s, sort of 80s a lot of the time with some of these MLS goalies, especially the good ones. So yeah, it's very much up in the air there with some of the better keepers. I think Brady's in a good position though at home to Montreal. I can't imagine he's facing a ton of shots, but I do think he'll end up probably getting the clean sheet. Daniel's in a decent position, I think, as is probably Brad Guzan at home. Ivasic, I don't know. I fancy the Red Bulls to score there. Joe Willis could easily score pretty well. They could maybe shut out and keep Cincinnati out there and not concede, but it's definitely not a gimme. Martin Pice maybe at home to Sporting Kansas City could look pretty tasty. Maybe even Sean Johnson, dare I say it, but Sean Johnson might be the play this weekend at home to Vancouver, who are without a lot of players. I know a few will come back from international duty, but I fancy him there. I haven't showed you the spreadsheet, but I'll be honest, nothing's changed since buying that John Bell. We're still at the same amount spent. We haven't won any cash yet. I think we still have retained our D2 position from last weekend, so we've got a D2, then a D3. And yeah, let's get into some lineup building. We'll cross-reference with Predictify for predictions of some of the MLS teams that we've got players in. It's Wednesday when I'm filming this, so not everything's been filled in yet, which is understandable because there's still a couple of days left until the deadline's over. And let's just throw in the Atlanta United team. We're gonna, we kind of know what we're doing there. I think as long as I can't believe Moranchuk's a AAA. I kind of get it, but at the same time I'm a bit feels like a trap. I think we're going to go double forward for the Atlanta boys. I fancy him to score a couple rather than going double defense because, this is just the community lineup, like I said. We either go Amador or Gregerson, who's just gone away with Norway. He played 1 minute against Israel. I think it was yesterday. So he should be fresh, but I fancy Amador, to be honest. He didn't go away, on international duty. He's got a wicked left foot on him. I think it's just a matter of time before he gets involved in some of the decisives there. I think for me, Almiron, is the captaincy choice I'm going to stick with. I just can't really trust Moranchuk right now, and I think I've just got a bit more trust in Almiron, despite playing, with his international side. I still fancy him to probably start on Saturday at home to New York. It's prime for a good fixture. This is for Atlanta. I just hope it comes through because this is potentially a lot of cards in the pockets of a lot of you guys, or in the galleries, I guess. The support the channel and support the series. So, excuse me, that lineup is in. I do want to say though, I've done that wrong again, haven't I? I always do this because I always make that team first. I forget that it'll automatically put it in the into the Division 2 position where I want it to be in Division 3. So let me throw it in Division 3. We don't want big old Brad Rare Guzan. We want limited Brad Guzan. Sometimes these filters get a bit funky. Yeah, they're going to get a bit funky, aren't they? So I need to manually do this. But that's fine. Latte, and Almiron. Boom. So that's the Division 3 lineup done. Now Division 2, this is where we've got a couple of decisions to make. Not a ton of decisions, but we do thankfully have a ton of home fixtures for once. So Sean Johnson definitely plays in goal for us. I mean, it shows we have 2 Gregersons, but one of them is part of the community lineup. So we have a Gregerson, of course. We bought him not too long ago. What do we pay for Gregerson? £6.06, which is probably an overpay with the amount of subs and poor scores he's had in the last couple of games. John Bell isn't predicted to start right now, but I think that could change. But at the same time, I'm not really interested in playing him this weekend. I think it's Gregerson at home to New York. Now we've got 4 midfielder options. Joaquin Pereira, David Acosta, Cole Bassett, and Miranchuk Classic, which, of course, if we played the Classic Miranchuk, we wouldn't be able to try and hit the streak, which I really desperately want to do. We still haven't hit the 350 yet, which is the first streak. And I think, going with him would mean we're just not up against it, but, well, clearly we can't even go for the streak if we do, play him. But at the same time, I don't think we need to. We have 4 home fixtures there to choose from. And I think our in-season cards are better options than Miranchuk, honestly. I can't not play David Acosta. I think he's in the best position, personally, as far as our midfielders go, with the, just what I project him to do this weekend against a poor Houston side. Navarro obviously gets the nod up front, being our only forward. And then the conundrum is, do we trust Bassett after, pulling a few stinkers? Do we go with Joaquin Pereira, who's knocking on the door of a decisive? Or do we go with, I guess that's it, isn't it? Bassett, Pereira. I guess we could go, not Gregerson, sorry. We could go John Bell or whoever, but that's not going to happen. It's basically Joaquin Pereira or Cole Bassett. And for me, I think it's Joaquin Pereira. I think that one's a no-brainer. And honestly, I think the captaincy choice is a no-brainer as well. I think that one kind of picks itself. Now, I do have a decent amount of XP. I have 5,500 limited XP, which I'm definitely going to utilize now. Because, I've been, winning bits of it over the last few days, over the international break and stuff. And, I need to spend it, So, those are going to be the 2 teams. Look, all my players are at home. I'm not in a position here where I think, or I'm doubting any of them to the point where, I want to go and buy someone. I think this weekend it's one of those weekends where I go, I genuinely don't think we need to go out and buy anyone. I think that would be overkill. Obviously, we can always improve our lineups. But for me this weekend, I just don't see a reason why... why I would go out and buy a card here. It looks like Pereira plays Sunday, so he's our only Sunday card. So it could be all on him to hit that threshold or hit that hot streak. Hopefully that 350. That's what I was gonna do. I was going to level up a couple of cards. So let's see what the Road to Glory lads are looking like as far as level ups go. So Larea's pretty close. We can't do Sean John. Can't do Bassett. We can do David Acosta. We could do Gregerson. I'm just looking now who the best... I mean, let's do Gregerson first, because that's only 101. We've got, what did I say? 5,000. So I don't need to be picky here. I can kind of just spend where I see fit. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So obviously, I can't level up Acosta now and Pereira for nearly 7 days. We can't level up Bassett until tomorrow, so I'll probably do that tomorrow as far as our starters go, and Sean John. So I'll wait on those. I guess we could level up some of the Atlanta lads, for the community lineup, because at the end of the day, Atlanta, those cards are there to win you guys prizes, and I want to give those cards the best chance possible of doing that. So I'm just gonna throw in every one of those that, I mean, they're all only 150 points away from the next level. So there's 5% added there, just, in one little go. We've still got 4,000 XP left. So that makes me feel a bit better. The more XP, the better. I always say, there's no downside to having more XP on your card. It's just one of those situations where if you can do it, you're leaving XP, you're leaving points on the table if you don't do it, in my opinion. So this is what we're looking like. Just over 1,000 players in each competition so far. $300 for the top place. I know I say every weekend, lads, and I probably am, deluded half the time with the lineups I go out with compared to what some other people, have. There's no reason why that 5 there can't go and win. Let me know if you think I'm deluded. But I genuinely think there's no reason why Navarro can't score at home to Charlotte. Pereira and Da Costa go and do 20 AA and an assist each. There's no reason why Gregerson can't do 30, 40 AA at home to New York. Okay, Sean Johnson hasn't shown much promise right now as far as, clean sheet abilities. But at home to Vancouver, a little Canadian derby, even though it's very far away from each other, or they're both, very far away from each other city-wise. Lads, genuinely, this is the first weekend. Like I've been saying it, haven't I? Like I bought Sean Johnson early on, and I was, sort of like, I'm not worried about the first few weeks because he's away, he's in horrible matchups. I know Chicago who did they play last week? It was New York, wasn't it? New York wasn't great, but the week before that it was Chicago. I was hoping there was going to be a clean sheet for Sean John then. There wasn't. But I think we're getting towards that sort of, there's in a couple of weeks, there's 4 or 5 home games for Toronto. So I'm hoping then, Sean John comes into his own. But even starting this weekend, home to Vancouver, just give me a clean sheet, man. Give me a chance at hitting that first streak. Give me a chance of, getting to top 200 here with winning some cash and getting into D1, because that's what we desperately need to do. But I've blabbered on now for a good amount of time. I hope you don't mind the longer episode, lads. If you do enjoy, please do leave it a like. Let me know in the comment section your Sorare gallery name, and I'll give away a couple of cards as usual before the deadline, so I can, just for engagement, and of course, you guys supporting the series and the channel. It means the absolute world to me. If any of you guys are interested in signing up to my member section, I don't really plug it that often, to be honest, but I've just remembered that I'm going to be building lineups tomorrow for my members, and there's going to be gallery reviews, monthly gallery reviews at the end of every month. And of course, we are at the end of March right now. And in the next few days, I will be doing the gallery reviews for all my members. It'll be a big, long live stream, probably 4 or 5 hours long. And if you want to get involved in that, and there's access to a private Discord, over 150 managers in there, all chatting Sorare day in, day out. It's £1 a week, £4 a month. Just click the join button if you're watching this on YouTube, of course. And there'll be a link to join the Discord, and you'll get cracking that way. But no pressure, just letting you know. Hope you have a great day, and I shall see you guys in the next one.